the Ruger EC9s. Let's check it out. Now the Ruger LC9 was very popular. It was a very thin handgun, very easy to conceal, single stack magazine, held 7 in 1. Just an excellent firearm, and really the big brother to the Ruger LCP. But one of the problems is the trigger. It was somewhat tough to master, and part of that was because it was a hammer fired pistol. Internal hammer, but you had that double action pull every time. So Ruger came up with the LC9s, which is a striker-fired version and a much improved trigger. Then they introduced the EC9s, which is the economy model. And really the only difference between the EC9s and the LC9s are the sights. Now this video is a Get Zone exclusive for the Shoot Zone. This will not be seen on YouTube. But I'll tell you what, guys, you get a hold of one of these little EC9s's, and it is so easy to tuck away. And the price is right. Now the new EC9s and the LC9s are actually identical in every dimension. In fact, they use the same magazines. You can use obviously the same holsters. I mean, it's pretty much the same pistol. The only difference are the sights. The sights are actually milled into the slide. So it's just part of the slide. With the LC9s, you can actually, it's dovetailed, you can remove the sights, you can put different type sights on here. And because this is more of a self-defense, up close and personal firearm, you know, these sights really don't need to be removed or adjusted, but if you do want that option, you do have the LC9s. It has the Ruger glass-filled nylon frame, which is very smooth, but this particular model has the tungsten gray Cerakote finish. This is the way the gun came. I got it at Palmetto State Armory. I think it was $249 with the Cerakote. Without it, it's $239. So it wasn't a very expensive upgrade, but I thought it just kind of looked nice. It looked different. Now, before we get too far into it, let's go ahead and drop our magazine and check the chamber, and the gun is empty. It does come with one 7-round magazine. They're good quality. It had this lip here. There's a little finger rest. I really wish Ruger would have added an extra magazine. You definitely need at least 2 magazines with any pistol. But one thing too is that once the magazine is dropped, it has a magazine disconnect, which completely locks the trigger. And so you can't pull that trigger unless the magazine is inserted. And then of course you have your action. The texturing on the frame is really nice. It does kind of concave in, so it makes it seem even thinner than it is. And then of course texturing on the front and back strap. It gives you a decent grip to it, but with it being so thin, you want a good grip. But it's really just a trade-off with a very small pistol that you can conceal, yet have a round effective enough for self-defense. It has a nice satin bluing on the slide. You have large serrations on the back, so it's really easy to bring that slide back, and it does hold open on the last round. Now you have your mounted frame safety on the outside, and it doesn't go from this way, it goes actually from the back. So if you have it here, you can actually just lift up and, you know, engage your safety, but it's a nice positive safety. It's not something that's going to necessarily just pop loose easily. Also, we have your slide hold open or slide stop right here. It's very minimal. One of the things about this handgun, even with external safety, is that it's very thin, even with the controls. And then you have a takedown notch here. We'll look at that in just a minute. But it has very smooth, clean lines. To me, excellent for concealed carry. And even the front here of the muzzle is just kind of rounded off. Here at the back, again, rounded off. Now here we have the Ruger LCP2, and this is in 380 ACP. They do make a 380 version in the LC models as well. So that's one thing if you want something a little larger. But one of the great things about 380 ACP is you can get super compact. And so here I'll just kind of give you kind of an idea. A little bit smaller in the here, and then of course we're a little smaller right here, but we do have a finger rest. And so with that flat magazine well though, you're really getting close to the Ruger LCP. So that's definitely a big plus. And then we're going to bring out the Glock. This is the Model 43. And of course this was a head down exclusive. It's been kind of modded out somewhat. But here you can see that the Ruger is actually a little shorter. And it's actually a little longer though with this little base pad. But if you had the flat base pad, it would still be a little bit longer. But you can see, just for comparison, the size difference. But the price is considerably less for the Ruger ECP or LCPS. Then the bigger brother is the Security 9. And this is a new offering from Ruger. This is a great pistol. And it is definitely smaller. You can see, considerably smaller. Plus, it's thinner. It's just a more concealable handgun, even though the Ruger Security 9 is made for a concealable handgun. The barrel is 3.12 inches in length. It weighs 17.2 ounces, so it's a fairly lightweight gun. It's 6 inches in length, it's 4.5 inches in height, and it's 0.9 inches in width. So again, really thin, very concealable handgun. Now here is the flat base plate option. You can see it really cuts that down quite a bit. It's really easy just to take a punch, push that through, and pull your base off. And that allows you to clean these magazines as well. But this to me is a great option. And if I'm going to carry this pistol, I'll probably add this little flat base plate. But one thing that I really was surprised about is this dummy magazine. And this allows you to put this magazine into place, and yet you can rack the slide without it holding open every time. So if you want to practice your dry firing, this is a great tool. And that's really one of the first times I've ever seen that included with a pistol. It's a little bit more difficult to get out than your standard magazine, but not difficult at all really to pull out. It just doesn't pop out. But here I can check, dry fire without that thing holding back, and two, because of the magazine disconnect, this allows you to train. Now while we got the dummy magazine in here, we're going to go ahead and check our trigger pull. And of course the gun is safety checked. Here you have your little trigger safety. We have some take up, and then we have our brake. There is some resistance. I'm going to show it again. You have your take up right here. There's resistance and then a snap. The trigger is, actually the snap is not bad. But one of the problems you're going to have is when firing this rapidly, you're going to have to make sure you bring that all the way out. And we'll check the reset. Yeah, it's all the way out to where that resistance starts. Just keep that in mind. If you ever are shooting, you need to let that trigger go all the way. A lot of times with certain pistols, it has a short reset, and I'll fire it and let it out a little bit. And, you know, it's just going to be one of those training things that you're going to need to make sure you do if you're going to carry this pistol. We're going to check the trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 5 pounds, 1.2 ounces. 5 pounds, 4 ounces. 4 pounds, 12.8 ounces. So just around the 5 pound mark. And we're going to see at the range. I haven't taken this down to the range yet, but we'll give you a range report once we get some shots through it. Now I want to thank Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo. This is the 115 grain full metal jacket. All this is made in the USA. But we're also going to be using some of the Spear Gold Dot self-defense ammo just to test the hollow points for reliability. Unfortunately, again, we only have one magazine, so this is going to be a lot of fun. One of the things about 9mm in a really small pistol like this is that it can be really snappy, especially with a small grip. But I found that this was really a pleasure to shoot. I mean, it was not very difficult. It seemed like when I would take that first shot sometimes, it would take me a little bit by surprise, mainly because that trigger is fairly long. You know, you pull it to a certain point, and then there's that little bit of pull, and then it fires. So you'll notice a couple of times when I'm shooting that I do a hesitation. I kind of bam, bam, and then I pull and then pow. And you know, it's just one of the things about this handgun that you need to master. And you know, the reset is long. I mean, getting that reset out. But I found that, you know, getting used to just shooting it, it was not difficult at all to get on target, whether you were shooting just steady or even rapid fire. I found the sights were very easy to pick up, even though they are fixed to the frame and milled into the frame. But it was shooting just a touch to the right, but not too bad. But I'll tell you, one of the things that affected my accuracy with this pistol is the trigger. And again, you're pulling it to a certain place and then it has that resistance and then the snap. You know, if you're really bearing down close, you know, it is going to affect you. But in a self-defense situation, I don't see that as a problem at all. I mean, you're going to be able to get those shots into a man-sized target. Now, we were using both the Fiocchi and the Spear Gold Dot. We had no malfunctions with any of those rounds. I did put just a touch of white paint on the front of the sight just to give me a little more contrast, especially because I'm shooting black steel targets, and this really helps. But it's easy to do, and really, you know, the sights are fixed, so that's pretty much all that you're going to be able to do to these sights. Now, according to Ruger, we insert our dummy magazine, check to make sure that the gun is unloaded. Next, we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger, and then we'll remove our magazine. Then we're going to take, and right here, there's a little notch. We're going to drop that down, and you'll hear a nice snap, and that's going to reveal your takedown pin. We're going to bring it back to match with the cut in the slide. Take a small punch and just push through from the other side, and here it comes right out. That's a little different than a lot of designs. And then we can take the slide and just pull it right off. Next, we're going to take out our recoil spring and guide rod. It is a dual recoil spring. It is all metal. And then we're going to pull out our barrel, which is a linkless Browning design. Here to give you an idea of the interior of the slide. Guys, it's the exact same thing as the Ruger EC9s. Got your striker assembly, everything right there. You have your firing pin safety here as well. Now here is the frame. You can see the metal insert, and it has a nice long slide rail, so that's really nice. A lot of the guns now have very short front and rear slide rails. Reassembly, we're just going to drop in our barrel, recoil spring and guide rod, bring back the slide over the frame. Right here we're lining up this hole with the frame and the slide, and drop in our takedown pin, pop it up, insert our dummy magazine, and we're going to test fire, and we're good to go. Take our standard magazine, put it in, and we're ready for the range. Now, if you want more information about the Ruger EC9, you can go to the Ruger website. I did pick this up again at Palmetto State Armory. I think I paid $249. And that was because of the Cerakote. If you get it just standard, I think they're $239, and that's a great price for a single stack 9mm that's dependable and good quality. So if you want to be able to change your sights out, go with the EC9s. But if you just want something that's down and dirty and simple and a really budget-friendly handgun, the Ruger EC9s, you know, it's just a great little gun. No frills, simple, and I like simple. And again, I want to thank GetZone.com for hosting these videos. We put a lot of videos that have been banned on YouTube, plus we do exclusives. And this is one that I was really wanting just to bring to GetZone. So check out the Suit Zone. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. right way without, okay. But it was still very, one thing that's really sucky, but you know, I like the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. And I'm simple.